Greetings, everybody. This is Serpentine451 here, back with another episode of Weeb Warriors. And joining me, as always, is my buddy Jordan. How you doing tonight, Jordan?
Hanging in there, Tony.
I may not have the full-on pep that I used to have, because I did just wake up not too long ago, so I'm trying to get my energy back up.
It'll be okay, Tony.
With everything, we have all of our shows cut up. So, Jordan, what's on your queue first?
That time I reincarnated as a slime, episode 10, The Orc Lord.
Oh,
Tell me, what's your opinion about this?
Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Oh, boy. So, this episode I watched first, actually, after, I think, either the day of, like the day, yeah, it would have been the day after. So, Tuesday. So, this past Tuesday, I actually watched episode 10 first before everything else I watched. Everything I watched today. So my memory on it is a bit hazy. But overall, I think the episode is a solid one for this series. Essentially, what happens from what I can recall is that Rimuru gives names to all the ogres. Since they have so much magicules, they put him to sleep faster than anything else.
Yeah, they're all higher beings. Apparently, there's some sort of hierarchy amongst the monster races, and that by naming each of the ogres, allowing them to evolve into the Kaijin, he depleted his magicules. And all of the ogres, honestly, in my opinion, got a downgrade as far as badassery, but whatever.
Yeah,
right?
The leader, dude, he lost muscle definition.
Although I'm almost 100% sure that Titty Ogre has larger breasts now.
I cannot confirm nor deny that statement, to be honest with you. Plus, I really don't have the time to actually, look into that myself.
I'm sure someone out there on the internet has been like,
Yes, the truest of intellectuals out of us all would have figured it out.
Yep. Hey, man, you'd be surprised what sort of things you can find on the internet. People take stuff very, very seriously.
Facts.
Yes. Ultimately, after having named all the ogres, Rimuru resolves. Well, before this, Rimuru resolves to assist the ogres in finding the Majin who attacked their village with orcs, and he names them, so on and so forth. There's reports of movement near the village by lizard men, and the lizard men are moving around near his village because an entire orc army the size of their population is coming to destroy all of them, apparently led by the legendary Orc Lord.
Oh yeah, it's something that hasn't happened in hundreds of years, thousands of years.
Something to that effect. Yep, an Orc Lord is only born every few centuries, and he is absurdly powerful, capable of leading more orcs than any other being would normally be able to organize. More importantly, though, it seems that he has been named by one of the Demon Lord's generals, the same one who named... why can't I think of his name?
The Lizard Man, who's the son of the Lizard Man King.
No. I'm trying to think of the goblin's name, whose brother was named.
Oh, I think it's
Rieger.
Was the name of the goblin hero.
It's Rieger.
Rieger. And then Rigard and the other fucker.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, that weird masked individual that gave that one orc the name also gave the name to the lizard man prince too.
Mm-hmm.
This flamboyant fucker.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this guy's a bit too much sometimes. I'm like, Lord Jesus, stop. No, I don't need this in my life.
Yes, you do. This is exactly what you need in your life.
Yeah, I need a lizard man that basically is worshipped in high heaven because he has a name and everyone else doesn't.
Hey, man, in the world of the nameless, the named are king.
No, he's a prince.
I was butchering a quote, but you know, whatever.
But all in all, they were the lizard man king sends his son. I don't really recall the fucker's name. To
But he doesn't have one.
Huh?
He doesn't have one.
No, the prince. He has a name.
Oh, the prince. It is Prince Gabiru.
Yeah, that guy.
I thought you meant the orc. I thought you meant the lizardman king.
No, I meant prince.
Yeah, he doesn't have one.
Like a lot.
Yeah, the son of the lizardman chieftain is sent to enlist the help of the goblins from the neighboring territories. I imagine it's going to go poorly.
And it kind of did in a way. Because these fucking lizard men just want to stroke the ego of our prince here.
Yeah, I'm sure that they want to put a weak prince in power so that they can manipulate him and vicariously control the Lizardman clan and do whatever they want to. It's a very classic approach.
Yeah, but a lot of these fuckers don't seem that intelligent.
Hey, man, you never know. It's easy to play the dunce.
True. These are facts. I will give you that. Okay. Well, a pretty good episode. I can't wait to see what fucking craziness all these armored orcs are going to do against some lizardmen and the fucking goblins. I am looking forward to that nonsense. How about you, Jordan?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be one of the I think this is going to be the major fight of the series, and they've been setting it up long enough. So I'm interested to see how it plays out. I also want to see Rimuru square off against the Majin or the Demon Lord's General, sort of just get this party started.
Yeah, let's get this party started right.
Yeah, that's all I really have to say about that time I got reincarnated. Looking forward to the next episode. I think this one was solid. I'm sure that the Lizard Man delegation's going to get their ass whooped in some fashion when they get to the Goblin Village. And I'm looking forward to watching episode 11 sometime this week.
Same here. What's up next, Jordan?
Goblin Slayer! Episode 10, Dozing. So episode 10 actually is rather slow-paced. It deals, for one, we get to see Goblin Slayer outside of his armor, which is a rarity. And one of the things that I don't actually remember all too well from the manga, if at all. But the important part is that it gets to show some of the loose ends of the previous arc being wrapped up. Goblin Slayer going to town, meeting up with the getting his armor repaired, meeting up with some of the background character adventurers, discussing the defeat of the Demon Lord and how everyone's all celebrating and whatnot, because obviously everything's going to be fine now. The Demon Lord's gone, and Goblin Slayer's like, no, there fucking won't be. Fucking goblins don't care. They never fought the Demon Lord to begin with. They're just fucking evil.
Yeah, they're evil little shitbirds.
Yeah, but no one seems to be. No one's. The people are sort of hesitant to believe that. Uh, Afterwards, he gets his armor, goes to the guild hall, and runs into his adventuring allies. They end up going to dinner. Um, we get, and then I think this is actually the first time that all of Goblin Slayer's like potential love interests are in the same scene.
Except for the swordman who wrote a letter to
Oh,
God.
she's not a love interest. She can't be. She can't be involved.
I mean, she wants that dick, though.
She is the sword maiden of the supreme god and the archbishop of the church. She can't have no relationships with no man.
I know, but that doesn't mean she doesn't want it, though.
Keep your fan fantasies to yourself, Tony. We're only here for actual, legitimately possible relationships.
All right.
But honestly, I don't think any of them are legitimately possible because Goblin Slayer is way too fucked in the head to have a relationship.
These are facts. These are factual, so.
Right, like Priestess, Cow Tits, and Guild Girl, they're just all out back.
Oh, yeah. And aren't we forgetting our little elf ranger?
Oh, yeah, I don't consider her one either, but okay. I guess I'll have to give you that one. Bias against elves, you can ask anyone.
But what's funny about this episode, because I've heard that this was more like a kind of a recap episode of sorts. Or some stupid bullshit. Because I think from what I was reading that there may be a space between episodes until the end.
So, this is my favorite arc. They set this up. So they gave us this nice, like, almost homey episode because what's about to fucking happen is so fucking ridiculous.
Oh yeah, pure nonsense. It's great.
So I mean, skipping the middle because effectively it's just a lot of like almost like God fantasy slice of life sort of stuff. Goblin Slayer does his daily routine of checking the fences and the fields and whatnot, and what he finds is not just a few goblin tracks, but a fuck ton of goblin tracks outside of the farm, and that's how the episode ends. So we're in the farm attack arc, or as I like to call it. I don't actually know what it's really called, if it has a proper name or not.
Oh fuck, man.
So, yeah, I'm interested to see how this plays out. Let's see. Let's see if I can find the name of the chapter. It's hard to tell. I don't think so. Dozing is in fact the name of volume 10 of the manga. I'm not sure how well that keeps up. I don't think it's called. Yeah, I don't think this is correct. For some reason. Yeah. Okay. Either way.
But all in all, it's a good preamble to what's about to happen next. Like a nice little reprieve until more bullshit just happens.
Yeah, we're probably gonna get back into some day one type, some episode one type gruesomeness coming up here soon.
Ah, shit. Oh boy. If people thought episode 1 was fucking messed up, buddy, you ain't seen nothing yet. Alrighty, what's next, Jordan?
Up next is Zombieland Saga, episode 10. No zombie, no saga, all caps. So in this episode, it is sadly not focused on my girl Yagiri or Tai-chan. So honestly, it was shit in my mind. I'm kidding. It was a solid enough episode. So essentially, they land their first major gig, and Sakura gets all excitable, a little too excitable,
Yeah,
and
it felt too much hype.
yeah, and her excitement begins to derail the group's progress. So Kotaro decides, in his typical weird fashion, to force the girls to go into the mountains for a training montage, because nothing big ever happens without a training montage in the mountains.
Exactly. And this fucker has to go yodele hiku all goddamn time when it comes to the mountains. Like, motherfucker.
Yeah, so they go up into the mountains, and the group begins divvying out tasks, following the, doing what they feel is their best, is doing what they feel is their strong suit. There it is. To survive out here in the wilderness, since Kotaro also, in typical fashion, didn't give them the means in which to survive on their own. Uh,
In a typical fashion. Let's see. I was hunting for boar. Junko was fishing. Yagiri was out foraging mushrooms. Taichan was just building snow places, like snow statues with Romero. Lily was building the fire, and Saki was gathering firewood.
yeah.
And all this seemed to have pissed Sakura off so much that she decides to practice out in the goddamn mountains by herself.
I fucking idiot.
Yep. And it took Junko saying something to her, and Yagiri actually looking out for our focus character, she's saying to Kotaro, come on, man, this girl's not really getting it. You have to do something about this. He's like, well, I don't really care. She's kind of dumb. She's a dumb zombie, and then slapping the motherfucker.
So in Kotaro's defense, he was saying that he believes in her and that she can overcome these things, but in typical Yagiri fashion, she completely ignored what other people were saying so that she could have her little outbursts.
Yeah, she can have her moment. Yeah. In Kotaro's defense, he was about to say something nice about Sakura, but in typical Yagiri fashion, like Jordan said, she slaps people before they get their sense in. Although, the Tide-Shown moment for this episode is definitely when she bit the ass of that boar.
John, I honestly just can't with her 9 days out of 10, to be totally honest.
Oh, I can't with Sakura because poor girl gets destroyed every single time.
Cool.
Like, poor girl got her head stuck in the mouth of a boar. And is it just me, or was Tai-chan acting more like Romero than anything else?
Well, I guess they're both unconscious zombies, right?
Well, Romero has an excuse for being an unconscious zombie. He's a dog.
Tai-chan's doing stuff.
Tai-chan just does stuff. I appreciate the legendariness that is Tai-chan. It's a special kind of glory. And I can't wait to hear a little bit more about her. But
I don't think we're going to get it.
I agree with you there. I'm kind of sad about that.
Yeah, I'm sure these last 2 episodes are going to be about Sakura and her memories that she's going to ideally get back now that she's been cleared once again by a vehicle. I don't know what is up with this girl not checking her blind spot when she runs out into the street, but
like, I'm excited. This is why you look both ways as you're crossing the street. And as someone who rides a bike all the time, I have to make sure my unhappy ass isn't hit by a car.
bike safety is the most important.
This is true. A lesson learned, folks. Make sure you look both ways, whether you're jogging, on a bike, or still a zombie.
Get the fuck away from me. But all right. Up next is Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, episode 10, Complex. Congratulations. So we're still in the arc where Mai and her sister
Nautiko
are still switched bodies. Nautiko's the one struggling with everything, honestly. Nautiko and Mai's body is struggling with dealing with the pressures of being Mai, be it her interviews or her photo shoots or her day-to-day life, what have you. She just feels under pressure. She can't keep up. She doesn't know how her sister does it. But Mai, being the fucking greatness that she is, steps into Nautiko's life seamlessly.
Yep.
And it's just great.
Mm-hmm. Which pisses Nautiko off to no end. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to compete with that?
Honestly, when so one of the big things that happens with this is that Nautiko is not able to switch back before her big gig. So Mai has to go and perform in her place. And during the performance, one of the singers trips and Mai catches the microphone in a heartbeat, continues to sing and dance without missing a beat, gives the girl back her microphone in step with the performance, and no one fucking noticed.
Yeah, these fuckers are like, hey, this is all good. I like this. When did she become so legendary? And then to end this arc, the sisters resolve. Well, Nautiko resolves her inherent issue with Mai, and the two are back to normal in their regular bodies. Now, I had to watch this one part where they go back to their bodies, because it fucked with my head.
Yeah, so effectively what it happened is, or at least the way that my girl Futaba explained it, is that they essentially transpose appearances of each other onto their own bodies. So their minds didn't switch, their appearances did.
That part I got, but when I was initially watching the episode, it took me like 3 times just to see what the fuck happened.
You didn't catch the you didn't catch that position change at first?
No, I didn't.
It's okay, I didn't either. I was like, oh, they switched back, and then they were talking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, that did happen, huh? I thought it was just a camera angle switch, but
yeah, it was some weird ass bullshit. But so resolves Nautiko's arc, which was a fairly good arc in the grand scheme of things.
I suppose, but all that matters now is that it is time for my girl to get her day in the sun.
Well, Miss Kaide, this girl actually she actually stepped out of the panda pajamas.
Because
It's
it's
her.
time for Kaede to go back to school, and I promise you, even though she is totally fictitious, I will beat a bitch's ass if she's not nice. If people aren't being nice to her.
Yeah, because she's a sweetheart.
She really is.
And it's sad to actually see a character go through a lot of shit because of things they can't control. Fucking people, man. People suck.
I really do. Now, I'm excited to see it, and I'm also excited to see that there is going to be apparently a film of this series released in 2019. Um, Interesting.
That's a healthy nugget of information there. Looking.
Yeah, I just so happen to be on the Wikipedia page. Oh, I didn't mean to mention. So I just learned that the people that make Zombieland Saga also are responsible for producing one of my personal favorite animes about one of the best compulsive gamblers ever. I don't
Oh,
even know how to pronounce it. Kakegurui.
Kagura, yeah. Which that's
And
gonna
they
be
have a new season coming out
yeah,
January 8th.
nice. Well,
So I can tell you right now it's going to be on the winter rotation of what is this show called again?
Weeb Warriors. Yeah, I know some bullshit tends to happen. Like I'm on the last episode of season 1 right now of Kakaguri, and I'm like, oh sweet baby Jesus, this fucking insanity. I love it so much. It's beautiful. It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, I don't think we got a chance to review the original series when it was out, but I will definitely have to make sure to follow up with the sequel.
Yeah, we can make sure to get that done. No real issue there.
But yeah, let's see.
The last show that we have is Gridman.
Yes, Quadruple S Gridman, episode 10, Collapse. So I can't delineate what events occurred in episode 9 and what events occurred in episode 10.
Well, essentially, what happened in episode 10, Akane hasn't made a new kaiju in months.
Yes, I remember that. She's fallen into essentially a state of like almost near depression, effectively.
Yes, where she just lost her initiative to make kaiju. And Alexis like,
Oh, quick, before then. Akane is trying to convince everyone, or has convinced everyone, that she is the creator of their entire lives. Actually, has come out that Gridman and the Neon Genesis Junior High School students are not from within the city, nor are they necessarily even from this world. They come from outside, and their first memory is that they came in as one entity and were divided. And then they met Hibiki, or Gridman and Hibiki met each other. So it's hard to say what exactly is going on at any given point and who's pulling what strings.
yeah, true. And everything in Alexis here is getting very antsy. Like, come on, Akane, why don't you make a kaiju? What, you hitting a slum or something? Oh, and then fucking Auntie actually pulling off something quite useful. It's like,
Yeah, so Auntie definitely antied up. That wasn't supposed to be a joke. He definitely raised the bar in this episode, having finally come to terms with his existence and what he wishes to do with his life. I guess he was able to achieve his true form, his final form.
Yep, which is
His
called
perfect form.
He is now Grid Knight instead of just some regular ass kaiju.
Yeah, and it's weird because I'm not sure if Grid Knight was a piece of Gridman that always existed, and that's what was making Anti defective, or
No,
if
what was
he
making
came about being afterwards.
What made anti-defective is essentially he learned of human emotions and gained some semblance of heart and humanity, even though he is a kaiju. And Gridman is someone who can detect living beings with so he doesn't destroy beings that have a heart, essentially. And so anti-developing human emotions keeps him from becoming a kaiju like the rest of his brethren. But I gotta say, the initial kaiju that Akane made after her months of inactivity was just a punching bag until its carcass bursts out another.
It was fucking disturbing.
Yeah, it was creepy as shit. Yeah, and this kaiju was fucking strong.
It really, really was.
Yeah, it made full-powered Gridman into its bitch.
That it did.
It is sad. It's very, very sad. But at least Anti, when he became Grid Knight, really pulled out the stops in defeating that kaiju. And it's usually a trope in tokusatsu fashion to actually have some enemies become allies.
Yeah, it's a very classic trope, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. But the one thing that we should probably end off on when it comes to Gridman is the fucking insanity that happened at the tail end of this episode because Akane actually found the junk shop in her wandering of the city.
So, did she really have to wander? They live next door to each other.
Oh, that is true. So she didn't. She doesn't necessarily live next door. I would assume it was a pretty far walk.
Oh no, man.
But the point I'm trying to make here is that she goes into the shop all dead-eyed and whatnot and stabs poor Yuta, or poor Hibiki here.
And shame.
Yep. Can't wait to see what happens in episode 11 and to see more of this fucking unhinged girl doing manic shit. Well, since I kind of touched on it a bit, the Otaku Soapbox question is mostly focusing on tropes.
Okay.
And a lot of these shows, well, I'm mostly going to pick Zombieland Saga because in someone's review of this, a written review of this episode, it's basically, mostly focused on episode 10. How the series itself kind of plays with the tropes of idol shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that very fascinating because as someone who does not watch those shows all the time,
I don't watch them at all. I only intended on giving this
a
a
fighting
one and back
fans.
sort of deal. Like my 3 episodes just to dismiss it as trash, and it captured my attention.
But I think the tropes that they use of the like delving into the backstories of some of our characters, some of them being very tragic in a way, but all of it in the end, at the end of the day, is played off for laughs. Like their issues are resolved and everything is together to make a cohesive unit. And Sakura, being mostly kind of an odd woman out of the situation, someone who can't remember who they were in the past, but still was able to awaken before everybody else.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, with her, like, Sakura is essentially the catalyst because she's essentially the character that kind of our guide into this group, this particular idol unit.
Yeah. I still wish I had gotten some background on Yagiri before they ended the series, but I see that's not going to happen. But what's your question, Tony? Are you just speaking generally about how certain animes take tropes?
Essentially, what I'm trying to bring to the forefront here is that a lot of our shows here play with a lot of different tropes, or with a very good degree of, well, some with care, some with a little bit of liberties. Like, for example, that time I got reincarnated as a slime, Rimuru plays with the trope of a typical isekai protagonist.
Yeah.
He's very powerful. He has an ability that's very powerful, but he uses it in a way to essentially help him out a little bit more, but it's not at the forefront most of the time. It's just Rimuru being himself as a character. That's more of the forefront. Instead of other examples that we can say about other isekai shows, who are just overpowered for the sake of being overpowered.
True.
And Rascal, even though its style is very similar to how to, like, to me in a sense, like how it presents all these different stories and playing with the supernatural elements, but trying to ground them in a way that it's representative of each character's, like, personal hiccup, which I find very interesting because a lot of dramas tend to, like, play with character dynamics and relationships, which that is very interesting. And Gridman is full, I mean full, of tokusatsu tropes. Well, it is a tokusatsu anime, but the point I'm trying to make here is that it doesn't necessarily, well, with Gridman, it's solid for what it is. It's a representative of a lesser-known tokusatsu series and trying to elevate it to such a degree where it's actually very fun and it actually follows a lot of the more modern tropes of tokusatsu without it generally sucking.
Okay.
Because as someone who has followed a lot of tokusatsu in this day and age, mostly on the Super Sentai side of things, I have seen a lot of bad Super Sentai. And I do mean bad, just god-awful. Because they were either poorly produced, had poor characterization, or focused on one character over the rest of the group. Or all three at the same goddamn time.
I mean, sometimes when you know you're gonna do poorly, you might as well go ahead and go for the triple threat, right? You really crash and burn.
And this is why we're kind of, well, Super Sentai is mostly hitting a slump right now, because the current series right now, Kaita Sentai Lupin Ranger versus Lupin Ranger versus Pata Ranger, even though it's a unique concept of having 3 different Sentai teams in the same series, it's still stabilizing Super Sentai enough with their next series that they're coming out with for next year. Rhea Soldier is another dinosaur-themed Sentai series. So Sentai itself is going back to basics after Lupin vs. Pat. So essentially, taking a risk is in Super Sentai's case, kind of a good thing. And a lot of these shows do follow their source material, if they have source material, very well. Like Goblin Slayer, for example, it's a dark fantasy, plain and simple. But it has its moments of quiet, it's quiet moments where all the fucked up shit tends to happen. Like, well, it's somewhat to a Berserk where you think everything's going to be okay, then there's this steady decline.
I don't know what episode of Berserk you watched where you thought everything was going to be okay, but I encourage you to go back and rewatch it because you were wrong.
Yeah, my memory is a bit faulty on that one.
I honestly couldn't. I can't think of what that would have been that you were watching. Maybe it was the Band of Hawks arc when Guts was with Griffith, and things were looking up as far as like his interpersonal dynamics, but they were still out here murdering people left and right.
That's probably what I was thinking of in the grand scheme of things, but
yep, we all know how that turned out.
I don't know what insanity I'm on, but regardless, the point I'm trying to make here is that in order to have those dark moments, well, in Berserk's case, all the goddamn time, Goblin Slayer just slowly but surely builds up to allow the action sometimes, especially for this current arc that they're about to go into. Because there's throwing hints every now and then. But the point I'm trying to make, if people should be used to my constant ramblings by now. What I'm trying to say is that all of our shows use the tropes to their effectiveness, playing around with them, emulating a lot of the modern tropes, well, the brighter side of the modern tropes of their specific genre, or are just really ticking all the boxes for what's about to happen for their respective genre. Do you have any 2 cents on that, Jordan? Or do you mostly agree with what I'm trying to say here?
I mostly agree with what you're trying to say. I think you hit on a lot of the big points, especially with the current series or the series that we're currently reviewing. Tropes are one of those things that are amendable to the situation, and even when there's a very well-established formula, sometimes you can breathe new life into the genre by playing on the tropes, and then there's some degree of genre awareness that allows you to make things that may not immediately come together in people's minds stick, sort of like comedy and isekai anime come together very nicely in Konosuba, because Konosuba is very aware of the genre that they operate within and don't take themselves particularly seriously. Like, they could have very easily made my guy broken and overpowered, and instead they give him a virtually useless goddess companion and a masochistic Paladin and Al Qaeda as teammates.
Yeah, Cosmo really drew the short straw on that one, but in a way, really humbles the man.
I guess.
But he gets to live in a fantasy world where he could steal women's pantsu all the time.
I don't think that was his intent when he was learning steel, but you know, you get what you get.
That was his intent in learning steel. Yeah.
Yeah, my dude was doing the absolute most with his hands. But yes, so things like that. But yeah, those are my thoughts as far as that particular topic goes.
And with that, I will end this episode of Weeb Warriors here. Thank you, Jordan, for joining me as always.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, the episode 11s for all of our shows are reaching a lot of their climaxes here.
Mm-hmm.
So expect some nuttiness to just spew forth from the floodgates.
Yeah, I'm expecting I don't know how Rascal's going to play out as far as like nuttiness, but definitely expect craziness for Goblin Slayer. We probably won't get away without some sort of drama from Zombieland Saga, just because it would be sort of pointless to set up Sakura as this mysterious person just to have her story resolved with, oh, I did the thing, right?
Yeah, we did the thing, yay!
Yeah, I am interested to see what the hell exactly is going on. Like, if they do me, I want Kotaro to like be related to Sakura for some reason, just to really like hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, that or something related to Taichan, because we both need and don't need solace on who Taichan actually is.
I mean, even if she were to never regain her mind, I would like to understand what the fuck is going on.
Truth. So we'll catch you guys next week. Also, our usual blurbs at the end are going to be in the description of this video. Catch you guys later.